So here is the digital certifications. It's very simple. It's as easy as 1, 2, 3. And as it says on the slide, we go live October 7th. So I want to make sure that you guys have all the correct information to be able to distribute the digital certifications to your participants. So let's make sure that you guys have the right information. And what is a digital certificate? It is a certificate that is available electronically. So each digital certification that is provided to a student will have a unique code identifier. These are called QR codes, and I'm going to show you some pictures of QR codes in a moment and what they look like. And it is normally tied to a particular individual and a particular instance. So they will have a number along with their QR code. That number is not their student ID, nor is it your instructor ID. It's related specifically to the individual plus the class that they took. So it's a combination of letters and numbers that are unique to that particular class and that particular student. Participants will be able to access their certifications electronically. So they will receive an email at the end of the class, and also they will be able to access their digital certification by logging on to www.redcross.org/getcertificates. This website is not live yet. It's going to go live October 7th. And if, say, it's an employer or somebody else who wants to verify the validity of the certification, they can go to redcross.org/confirm. Now, all certificates in the LMS today will be digital. So there are some people who took CPR last year or the year before. So we implemented our current learning management system, SABA, 2 years ago, actually more than 2 years ago, but they were able to migrate 24 months worth of certifications to the digital certification process. So those students that took it, last month or even the year before, they can go in, log in, and actually get a digital certification. And they can, again, confirm that it is valid the same way as students going forward, starting this October 7th. They can confirm it the same way by going to redcross.org/confirm. And we will be letting the students know, previous students know via an email that they have access to digital certifications. QR codes are also known as quick response codes. There's a picture of that right here. A quick response code is something that can be scanned using a mobile device. So it could be an iPad, or it could be a smartphone, an Android smartphone. It can also be a BlackBerry. Anything that you can download an app to scan QR codes, so a barcode scanner. These barcode scanners will be, these barcodes will be on or printed onto all digital certifications. So that way employers or any individual that wants to confirm the validity can scan the barcode, and they'll be able to be directed to a site that has information about the course and also be able to see the full-size certification. So there will be a link after the class for the students to be able to access their digital certification that contains this QR code. And the digital certifications will be available in 8.5 by 11 or wallet size. They can actually print their own wallet size certificate at home if they want to, using business card stock. They can get that any office store. If the participant doesn't have their own printer to print these things at home, they could ask the TSC for fully printed wallet size cards, and they could do that as well. There will be a link in the digital certification site that will allow them to request wallet size cards. Digital certificate features and benefits. So one of the features and benefits is that it's easy to track these certifications. Some participants may lose their certifications, so it'll be very simple for them to recreate it or bring it up again. They do have a unique identifier, which I mentioned before is this barcode kind of image that they can be scanned with a mobile device. So again, QR stands for Quick Response Code. Also, each QR code is going to be associated with an alphanumerical code that can also be inputted into the computer at redcross.org/confirm in case that individual doesn't have a smartphone device to scan these QR codes. They can just use the alphanumerical code. And also, we enhance the credibility of our certifications by having these unique identifiers on all of our digital certifications. So anything that will prevent forgery is a great thing, because if somebody has a different name on the certification and we scan that QR code or enter the confirmation code, that will bring up the individual's name that that certificate belongs to. So if anybody else's name is on there and it doesn't connect with the confirmed site, then that certification will be considered a forgery because it's not connected to the right name. Other features and benefits, so they can maintain control and responsibility of their proof of certification. They don't have to wait for us to provide them a copy. They can always access their own certification online. And also, this will always be available through our learning management system, even for courses that had already occurred. And they can download and print their 8.5 by 11 certificates just as they already do now. And like I mentioned before, participants can get their certificates by visiting www.redcross.org/get-certificate. They don't have to have an email address to access this. So for example, if you have a participant that normally doesn't use email, but they can get access to a computer, we can tell them, okay, just visit this site. They're just going to ask them a few questions, personal questions like their address and their phone number to verify that that's the correct participant. So this is what it actually looks like. A typical 8.5 by 11 certification will look like this, and also it will look similar to this in wallet size form. So like I said before, the digital certifications can be accessed by using the QR code or quick response code that can be scanned with a mobile device, or it can be accessed via the link that the participant will be emailed right after the class, or they can log on to www.redcross.org/get-a-certificate. They can use their unique identifier to access it as well. You'll notice the unique identifier ID is right under the QR code. It's an alphanumerical code. And if say the participant wants a copy of their alphanumerical code, they can call the Training Support Center and they will give them a copy of that code. So once somebody scans the QR code, this is what's going to come up. So if they go to www.redcross.org/confirm and enter the alphanumerical verification code, they're going to get the course ID, the learner name that's associated with that certification, the name of the course, the date it was completed, the offering ID, the organization it was conducted by, and also which instructor or instructors did the course. So again, it'll tell you the different components and how long the certification period is. And if they want to print the certificate, they can click the link right there to print the certification. So you have a participant that tells you, oh, I don't use email, I don't have an email address. That's okay. We can direct them to www.redcross.org/get-certificate. They'll enter their first name, last name, postal code, and the date of the course. And then once they click that, they'll be able to access their digital certification. Once they're in their digital certification portal, they'll be able to see a couple of options, which are excellent options because it's very easy and plain for the participant to see. Here you'll see the full page version of the certification by clicking here. Here they'll be able to download their wallet card so that they can print onto business cardstock. Now, for those of you who like Facebook and Twitter and other social media, or if you want to send it as a text message, you can send your digital certification to Facebook, Twitter, and text messages. So again, social media integration is also involved in this. They can download the PDF using this link to save it onto their computer, or if they want to request a wallet size certificate, say for example they don't have a printer at home, and or their employer wants them to present a wallet card, we can still provide that. They have a wallet card request site. This is what the wallet card request site looks like. There's more forms here, but I just copied and pasted what was at the top of the form. It'll ask for their name, their mailing address, so that they'll know where to send it. Community classes. So after completing the training during a community class, and these are the classes that we normally hold at our chapters where people are able to sign up via the catalog, they'll be able to have their course record processed within 2 hours of the class. So we want to give them what is called a buck slip. This buck slip will give them information on how to access your digital certification. So make sure that by the end of the course, you give them one of these flyers. That way they know how to access their digital certification. For community courses, if, for example, you have a participant that has a need for a handwritten certification or a physical certification by the end of the course, we're going to handwrite those. We're no longer going to pre-print the certifications for our students starting October 7th. We're going to make sure that we handwrite those. So we can have the pre-printed cardstock with just the name of the course and the name of the organization, but we will not pre-print the name on there or pre-print the date. So only if the student asks you, oh, you know, I really need to present this card to my employer this afternoon or by tomorrow, then you can go ahead and write those only if a participant requests it. So we're going to try to get into the habit of sending students to use the digital certification because it's a lot easier and a lot more streamlined. And this will prevent issues with having to prepare a lot of certificates for your classes as well. So I have a question about how class rosters are going to be done at the end of the class. So we will get to class rosters in a moment. So I saw that in the chat box. Thank you for the question. To accommodate misspellings for students who have passed the course, the instructor will have to identify that on the course record. So if you notice that there was somebody on the roster and the student says, oh, my name is misspelled, you'll have to let the TSC know, make a note on the roster, so that way their certification can be corrected. Because however it appears on the roster is how it's going to appear on their digital certification. So we want to make sure that we make a note of that on the roster. And when we call the Training Support Center, we're going to let them know as well. There are going to be different ways that we're going to be reconciling our certificate cardstock, so you're going to have to talk with your training specialist about this. If you do have a logistics support person in your area, then the logistics support staff person will help you reconcile your cardstock. So now you want to know, okay, so how do we process our roster after the class? How will the Red Cross know to provide this digital certification to our students? So there is a process, so I want to make sure to go over that. However, this will only work for participants that are already registered in the class. If you got to walk into your class and they're not registered in the class, they will not receive a digital certification. However, if you tell them, oh, okay, we'll call the Training Support Center, 1-800-RED-CROSS, and register before the class or during the class, then they will qualify to receive a digital certification. But if they're not able to register before or during the class, then they will not receive a digital certification in a timely manner. It's not until they are able to register properly with the Training Support Center that they will be eligible for their digital certification. So how do you make sure that your community students get their digital certifications? This is really important. You want to make sure that you call the Training Support Center within 2 hours after your class ends. This is really important, so I'm circling it. So your class ends, say it ends at, I don't know, you did a 9 to 4 class at the office. So that means that you have until 6 o'clock to be able to call the TSC and let them know the student's grades and their status, and if anybody had a misspelling in their certification or if there were any walk-ins. So there's going to be a script for when you call the Training Support Center, and there's also going to be a back office number for instructors. So there will be an option for you to dial a certain code to be able to get to an agent that is waiting for you to tell them the grades of your students. So I will be sending the script out to you guys so that you know what to say to the Training Support Center. Course record processing for community continued. So the instructor will have to close the community course offering by contacting the Training Support Center. Everybody knows the number for that, 1-800-RED CROSS or 1-800-733-2767. You're going to select option 3 for PHSS, and then you're going to, and PHSS stands for Preparedness, Health, and Safety Services. You're going to select option 2, an instructor calling to speak with a representative. So first you click option 3 for health and safety, then option 2 for you as an instructor. Again, this call must take place within 2 hours of your class ending. So keep that in mind. This is something that you can do if, let's say, you're cleaning up the class. You can just go ahead and dial the number and put them on speakerphone and do it while you're wiping down your mannequins or cleaning up the classroom. So course record processing continues. The instructor will use the PHSS Community Course Record call-in script for instructors. So I showed you the script earlier. Your training specialist will be sending this out to you so that you can use it while you make that call. And when the agent answers, please make sure to let them know who you are and that you're an American Red Cross instructor who's trying to close a community offering. So you're going to go ahead and provide the TSC agent with the offering ID. So all of your rosters should have the offering ID on them. If you didn't have the offering ID readily available, remember your training scheduler has the offering IDs in When to Work. So you can access it from When to Work or from your class roster. And you want to make sure that you give them your SABA username. So most of you, your SABA username is your email address, either your Red Cross email address or your personal email address. So please make sure you know what this is. If you don't know what this is, please ask your training specialist. You know, it's usually first name dot last name at redcross.org for some of you. But again, if you don't know, you need to ask your training specialist before October 7th so that you'll be able to, they'll be able to identify you correctly in the system. Also, they're going to add you as the instructor to the class based on your SABA username. So you want to make sure you are giving them the right information. The TSC agent will also verify the participant count. So you'll let them know, okay, this is how many people showed up to the class. So then they're going to compare it to how many people they see in the system that are registered. If you had a walk-in on the day of the class, the participant should have tried to call. So like I said before, have them call before the class starts or during a break. That way the participant count in your class will equal the participant count in the system. And here's another note. If you have participants on the roster that were unable to complete the registration with the TSC, do not attempt to give their information to the agent at this time. So this is important. If there's a participant on the roster that wasn't able to complete the registration, we're going to have to send a separate request through our admin so that way the admin can process their registration. So again, if you have somebody that was not able to register during the time of the course, either before the course or during a break, make sure that you note that on the roster so that when you send your roster to the admin can make a separate request for that student to be registered into the course. All right. So I received a question about whether or not this PowerPoint will be available for future reference, and the answer is yes. I will be sending this out, and you'll receive this from your training specialist. Typically, these PowerPoints are sent at the end of the month. And there's another question. If we are calling the TSC after the class, do we still need to scan or fax the roster as well? That is correct. The admin still needs to have a copy of the original roster, especially if you have students on there that did not register prior to the course or during the course. The admin will have to make a separate request to have that student be registered in the class. So keep that in mind. We're still calling and we're still submitting the course records as is. So whatever procedure you've been using to submit course records and rosters, you're going to continue doing that. This calling the TSC after the class is in addition to you submitting your course record, original course record. So thank you for those questions. So continuing with the community class process, we're going to give the TSC agents the mastery status for each participant. They're either not evaluated successful or unsuccessful. The agent is going to reconfirm all the details. They're going to ask you, okay, was this the offering ID? Okay, was this the course name? Okay, was this the course date, time, and location? Who were the instructors? And what was the grade for each participant? And this is also very important. You need to ask the agent for their name, and you want to write it down on the roster and put, okay, this is the agent's name, this is the time that I called them and all that, because you're going to be scanning or mailing the original roster to the service delivery admin. So just in case if for whatever reason the students did not receive their digital certifications or it wasn't processed correctly, we'll be able to tell who the agent was in case we have to retrain that agent on how to do the process correctly. So make sure that you get their name, when you called, the time of the call, the date of the call, write it clearly on your roster, and then send it to your admin the way that your training specialist told you to send it. Again, if there are any unregistered participants, it's the service delivery admin that's going to make sure they get registered. They're not going to do it over the phone after the class. So if you're calling them, you don't need to tell them, oh, okay, well, this is the information of the people who didn't register during the class or before the class. That's going to be processed after the class by your service delivery admin. The only people that can be issued digital certs right after the class when you call are people that were able to register before or during the class. So digital certifications, unregistered participants. So I want to go a little bit deeper into the process for how we work with unregistered participants. They walk in and they tell you, oh, I didn't know that I had to pre-register, or they say, okay, well, I didn't know that, I thought that I could just show up for the class and register on the day of the class. Students can register on the day of the class so long as they call the 1-800 Red Cross number, so you can direct them in that direction. But remember, we're not going to accept payment as the instructor on the day of the class. All payments are done and arranged through the Training Support Center at 1-800 Red Cross. If their name doesn't appear on the roster, it's possible that they may have registered, but their name didn't print out on the roster. Maybe they registered after your roster was printed. So you have them call the Training Support Center just to make sure that they are registered. They can do that before the class or during the break, and then you can make a note in the record that they are registered, and you could put their order ID on there. So if somebody was not able to register in the class, we're going to welcome them to the class. We don't turn anybody away, and we want to make sure that we do so long as we have enough materials to accommodate all the participants. If you have a severe shortage of materials, then you are you're entitled to say that you don't have enough materials to conduct the course with extra participants. However, we try to welcome everyone to the class if the space permits and if your materials permit. And so like I mentioned before, if the participant's registration cannot be immediately resolved, the instructor will permit the participant to complete the class. And you're going to go ahead and write their name, phone number, and email on the course record or course roster. Typically, you want to write this on a separate addendum so that it's easier for your admin and the TSC to read. If the participant did not attempt to register, make sure that they call the TSC either before or during the class. And if they state that they are registered but their name is not on the roster, have them call the TSC so that they can determine why their name wasn't on the roster. Sometimes there are some people who registered online, but maybe the registration didn't go all the way through, or maybe the credit card was rejected. So encourage participants, even if they say to you, yes, I did register online, just tell them, oh, okay, well, that's fine. Please call the TSC, so that way we can confirm if there was any problem in the registration process, and then let me know what the Training Support Center tells you. So direct them to do that before the class or during a break. The instructor will let the service delivery admin know on the record as soon as possible after the class, but no more than 24 hours that a participant did not register for the class, or that their name did not appear on the printed class roster. So you can always note on the course roster what happened in the class. If it was somebody who didn't register prior to the course and never was able to reach the Training Support Center, write that down on the roster. So this is going to be really important, because it's the service delivery admin who's going to be in charge of completing the registration for participants that were not able to register before or on the day of the class. The participants should be told that the TSC will contact them to process their registration and collect payment. So the service delivery manager will then create a case with the Training Support Center to have that participant registered in the class. So the service delivery admin is going to work with the Training Support Center to make sure that that unregistered participant gets registered after the class. And then the TSC will follow up until we are able to get their registration confirmed. So again, this is really important. This is the stuff that we have to write on the roster. Before we scan the roster or mail the roster to the admin staff or the logistics coordinator, whoever you send your roster to, make sure that you record the TSC agent's name on the roster where it can clearly be seen, and you write, okay, this is the TSC agent's name, the date and the time that you call the Training Support Center, and clearly mark all the participants who were not able to register before or during your class. Now, if you're teaching an instructor course, this is for our instructor trainers that teach instructor classes, make sure that you submit the course record, the code of conduct, and the instructor agreement in accordance with the guidance provided by your training specialist. In some territories, the instructor trainers are asked to just send it the same way as all other rosters and all other documentation. However, in other territories, they may ask it to be sent to the training specialist. So ask your training specialist how you want these documents for an instructor course to be handled. Your training specialist will give you specific guidance. So I have a question. Will the TSC give us their first and last name? So that's by another instructor. So they will probably give you their first name for sure and their last name initial. I don't know if they're going to give you their last name. Typically, when I've corresponded with them via email, they've given me their first name and their last name initial. But you can ask them for their full name, and because that's part of the process. And I have another question. Will the TSC be available nights and weekends for instructors? Yes, that is correct. The TSC is open till 11 on weekdays, and on weekends they're open on Saturday till 8 and on Sunday till 7. So then this is all Eastern time. So this is typically when our classes happen, and you'll be able to get access to the Training Support Center right after your class, within 2 hours. All right, so moving forward. I did get another question about how to access your roster using Instructor's Desk, and that's something that I will have to answer offline. So if you send me an email or call me, I can answer your question about how to access your course roster through Instructor's Desk. All right, so full service classes, and even for the community courses, we do have to give them the box flip, which is this flyer that we have here. I'm going to circle it again. This is something that we provide to all of our participants, full service and community. For those of you who maybe don't know the difference between full service and community classes are classes that students pre-registered for in our community catalog in redcross.org. So typically these classes happen at our Red Cross branches. Full service classes, however, are contracted courses with external companies, corporations, business groups, etc. Typically these students are not pre-registered, so we have to handle them a little bit differently than our community classes where the students are pre-registered in the system. So a digital certification will be automatically generated for full service students after the course record sheet is processed by our admin and the TSG. The instructor is going to issue a box slip to the students so that they know how to access their digital certification. After completing the training, if it's a full service, the instructor is going to submit the course record to the service delivery admin within 24 hours of the class. So again, make sure that you provide the course record as soon as possible to your service delivery admin so that way they can do the proper invoicing for these contracted courses and also let the Training Support Center know that the digital certifications are ready to be delivered. Digital certifications for full service classes are not going to happen as quickly as our community classes. They're going to take about 2 to 4 business days. So if they do ask you during a contracted course how long it's going to take, tell them it's going to be between 2 to 4 business days for them to have access to their digital certification. Now, some participants, even in a full service class, may request the certificate to be immediately given on the completion date of the class. So you can issue them the temporary certificate. You can handwrite it on the certificate cardstock and put the correct validity period in there as well. And instructors will be issued certificates that are pre-printed on a template for that purpose in case somebody asks for something to be given temporarily until they receive their digital certification. Same thing goes for misspellings. If somebody's certificate is misspelled, then just let us know. You can make a note on the record. Some of our full service classes may be pre-registered. This is rare for a full service class to have pre-registered students, but in the event that there is a misspelling, just make a note on the record. Issuing certificates to participants in a full service class is an automatic process. As noted previously, digital certificates are standard preferred primary certificate for all participants. So keep in mind, we are doing digital certifications for both community and full service. The process is going to be slightly different. Community classes, we will be calling the Training Support Center after the class. For full service, we will not be calling after the class. If the contract says that they need pre-printed certifications prior to the course, if say that's preferred, then we will have to go ahead and do the handwritten certs. We're not going to be doing the fully pre-printed certs anymore for any classes. We're going to be doing handwritten certs where we handwrite the name onto the certification, and that way we can provide that to the students if they need that at the end of the course. So again, let them know that their digital certification will be available for the full service class within 2 to 4 business days. All right, so here is our quiz. I noticed that there's many of you on the line. So we'll start with the first question here. If you want to unmute your phone, press *6 to unmute. So here's the first question. Participant is not on the community class roster. What do you do? So is Eleanor Title on the line? Eleanor Tyler?
Hey, I'm here. I was trying to unmute.
That's okay. So Eleanor, what do we do if the participant is not on a community class roster?
Ask them to call 1-800-RED CROSS and get registered before or during the class.
Very good, Eleanor. You got that right. So excellent. You get 100 points for that.
Thank you very much.
All right. So let's go ahead and go to Judy Backoff. Judy Backoff, are you on the line?
Yes, I'm here.
How do I call the TSC?
1-800 Red Cross.
Excellent. So for bonus points, what?
And then option 2.
Okay, so you got the bonus points. You get 200 points. Very good, Judy.
Right.
All right. So then let's go to, is Deneen Anderson on the line? Deneen Anderson.
Yes, I'm here.
Hi, Deneen. So what do I tell the TSC agent when they answer?
I tell them that I'm an instructor and I'm calling in for a community class and give them the information.
Excellent. And do you remember some of the information that we give about the class to the TSC agent?
Yeah, you'll have to give the offering ID. You'll need to give the username for the instructors, also each name of the person, and whether or not they completed the class successfully, unsuccessful, or not evaluated.
Excellent, Deneen. So that was about 3 questions that I asked you, so you get 300 points. Very good, Deneen. All right. So then do we have David Brownson on the line? David Brownson.
Yes, I'm here.
So what if I cannot get through to the TSC? What would I do?
Well, we're not going to send anyone away, that's for sure. So
Excellent.
you always have your training specialists available that you can call in case it's you aren't able to get hold of them. But we don't want to send anyone away, and we want to make sure that we gather all the pertinent information. Email address, phone number, and the participant's name.
Excellent. Very good answer. So if you can't get through the TSC for participants that were not able to register, then you want to make sure that you still write down their information and send that to the service delivery admin. Now, also as a side note to this, and I want to make sure that you guys are aware of this, if say, for example, you can't get through to the Training Support Center 2 hours after the class, say it was really late and you weren't able to get through for whatever reason, make sure that you call them the next day between 8 and 10 a.m. This is going to be very unlikely, but I just want to make sure that you guys know what the plan B is if you can't get in touch with them the evening of the class. Try to get in touch with them the morning of the next day for processing your course records. So that's going to be really important. So again, I don't know what the volume is going to be in terms of the number of instructors that are going to be calling the Training Support Center. I know that they're trying to equip the Training Support Center with more agents to be able to take calls. But again, I don't know what's going to happen the day this goes live. So in case you can't get in touch with them the day of the class within 2 hours, try the next day by between 8 and 10 a.m. So thank you very much, David. So you get 100 points for that.
Thank you.
And what if the participant still wants a wallet card? So let's see. Cameron Douglas, are you on the line?
I am. And they can print one out after the 2 hours. And
excellent.
I should be able to print one out for them too.
Excellent. So they can print one out after those 2 hours, right, on their on the website. And you said what was the other option?
Well, I should be able to print one out for them, I believe.
Okay. So then either they can print one out using the option to do it on a business card stock, or they can request the TSC to print one for them. As well as if it's right after the class, can you handwrite a certificate for them?
Yes, if it's
okay,
yeah.
Excellent. So then they have 3 options to get a wallet card. Number 1, the instructor can handwrite one for them. Number 2, they can print it on a business cardstock at home. Or number 3, they can click the button for request a wallet card, and the TSC will make one for them and mail it to them. So very good. I appreciate that, Cameron. You get 100 points. So let's see. Who else haven't I called on? So Fleetwood Lucilla.
Yes.
When will digital certifications be implemented?
Hopefully October the 7th.
Yes, hopefully October the 7th. So that's the go live date for digital certification. So thank you very much, Fleetwood. You get 100 points for that. So here's a couple more questions. And the next one I will ask to Joseph Hemingway. Are you on the line? Joseph, you there? All right, so then we'll go on to Leanne. Leanne Nakari. Leanne, you there?
Yes.
So when will the participants receive their digital certification?
After they sign up for it online.
Okay, great. So then how much time after a community class will they have access to their digital cert?
I think it was 2 hours.
Perfect. And how about a full service class?
I'm not sure.
That's okay. That's okay. I'll give you a hint. It's 2 to 4 business days for full service classes.
Okay.
So that's great. So I appreciate it. You still get the 100 points, Leanne.
Okay, thanks.
All right. So then now we have Nathan Green. Are you on the line?
Yes.
So what do I do if the participant doesn't have or doesn't want to give an email address?
You can give them the website to where they can log on and still print off their certificate.
So Nathan, for extra bonus points, do you remember what that website is?
I think it's Red Cross/Get Certificate.
Yes, redcross.org/get certificate. So I'll go ahead and give you 200 points. That's awesome, Nathan. All right. So now we have Robert Baltodano. Are you on the line?
Hey, how you doing, George? Hello, everybody.
Hi.
So will they still get a digital certificate if they don't provide their email address?
Yes, they can. They can call the 1-800-RED-CROSS, and they're going to go through basic information regarding the participant, and they can get one without an email address, yes.
Excellent, great. So they can call 1-800-RED-CROSS, or they can still go to the website that Nathan mentioned as well, which is redcross.org/get certificate. And so you get 100 points for that as well. Thank you, Robert. And I believe those were all of the digital certificate quiz questions. I'm going to go ahead and look in the chat box to see if I have any pending questions here.
Okay, did you run out of questions before you ran out of participants? Because I haven't heard my name called yet.
Oh, no, that's fine. Yeah, I only had a few questions, but we have a lot of participants on the call. Yeah.
Okay, just checking.
That's okay. Let me see. So I have a question. How many TSD people will there be at any given time to take calls? I don't know the answer to that question, so I will take note of that and see if I can get you guys the answer. What about multiple instructors? If lead calls TSD, do we need the usernames for the other instructors that taught, or just their names to provide the TSD? That's an excellent question. You will need the username for all of the instructors that were teaching. So you can write that down on the roster, so that way if the lead is calling after the co-instructors leave, go ahead and make sure that you have their SABA usernames. All right. So let's see, for full service. Yes, and so it says for full service, are service delivery available on evenings and weekends? So for full service classes, we will be submitting the rosters, the course records the same way that we have been before to our admin. And that's why it's going to take longer for them to process their digital certification, because unlike the Training Support Center, we're not there till 11 p.m. on weekdays. We're only there till 5, so that's why it's going to take a little bit longer. And somebody asked, what does SD admin mean? That's Service Delivery Administrator. And the Service Delivery Administrator is the one who processes all of the records in each local territory. And I have another question. When is the course presentation on Instructor's Corner going to update to include a slide with information for us to put on the student screen for students? I don't know. That's a really good question. I'll keep a note of that to see if they're going to update the course presentation to include information about digital certificates. So I will ask that. I'll take a note of that. Thank you for that question. And let's see. I believe that I answered all of the chat box questions. Let's see. Okay, there's another question here. Are we going to be sent box slips? And is it our responsibility to run copies for each class? So yeah, box slips will be the responsibility of the instructor to distribute. You're going to have to go with the guidance of your training specialist in terms of making copies. I know that some territories have logistic support that could maybe provide this for you, or an admin that can provide this for you, or depending on your training specialist guidance, they may tell you to go ahead and run the copies yourself if you have a copy machine at your local office or whatever kind of logistical plan your training specialist has you. So please revert back to your training specialist for guidance on how to get copies of the box slips. And also I have a question from Robert. Are there multilingual agents? Yes, our agents are available in English and in Spanish at the Training Support Center. So I've answered all of the questions from the chat box. Are there any other questions from the group, any voice questions over the phone?
Hi, George. It's TJ.
Hi, TJ.
Hey, I have a question. For when we do a blended learning or any stacked classes, do we need to make separate calls to the Training Support Center for each course offering ID number, or can we make them all in the same phone call?
You can make them all in the same phone call. Just make sure that you distinguish with the agent that you are now presenting them with a new offering ID and a new
I just wanted to make sure. Okay.
Yes, you could make them all in one phone call, yes.
Okay, great.
Thank you, TJ.
No problem.